Ladies and gentlemen, when certain publications engage in what they call journalism, it's intrepid, wonderful, truth-finding journalism. It's the bedrock of a free press. So when you have David Farenthold literally saying, also, if you ever want to send me documents anonymously, you can do it online at this encrypted site. Gee, what was an online site that you could, I guess, send documents to? Well, what was that called? Was it a wiki something? What was that called? Or just do it the old-fashioned way. Send a no-return address package to the street address below. Well, how does he know he's not getting information from the Russians? How does that work? So Eric Trump finds a Washington Post journalist, David Farenthold, who's devoted his life. Well, all of them, the Washington Post exists at this moment in time to undermine Trump. They didn't exist to undermine Nixon. It just so happened that they were covering a story because of two reporters, and okay, they were one of the publications. And, well, Watergate took place, and they didn't exist prior to Watergate to just undermining Nixon. The Washington Post at this point exists. David Farenthold also, I believe, is the journalist who suddenly found, miraculously, the Access Hollywood tape. Gee, I wonder if China or Russia was behind that. See, the interesting thing is, if it's Assange, if it's somebody that actually gets anonymous documents that harm the Democratic Party, and specifically Clinton, who's running again. Yes, she is. She's running again. I don't care if it's a day before February. There is no, what if she misses the time to enroll? No, there is no time frame to enroll. She runs at the end. There is no Democratic Party. She's running. She can go in the day before Iowa, February 4th, 2020, the 2020, and say, well, I'm running again. They'll be like, oh, no problem here. It is. That's it. It's fine. You missed a filing date. No problem. We'll just let that slide. There's no, anyway. It's happening, people. But anyway, also, so Eric Trump found a journalist who basically, David Farenthold, who first starts off saying, I'm very sorry to bother. I'm a reporter for the Washington Post, and I cover the Trump Organization as a business. As part of that, I try to make sure every Trump Organization employee has my contact information. Okay. You know the company so much better than I ever could. I'd like your help to make sure I don't miss something important. Okay, if you ever want to get in touch with me, I'd be glad to talk on background. Meaning I'd never use your name in a story. Yeah, just like they didn't use Madeleine Westerhout's name. So Trump, the backdrop here is that Trump found out off-the-record conversations, very likely because the Washington Post was one of the people, one of the journalists, several journalists from the Washington Post were at a bar that Madeleine Westerhout apparently was drinking too much, and she divulged information. Gee, how interesting is that? And I think that it was actually Westerhout and President Trump that actually said, look, if you're leaving, let's just go out with a bang and pretend to divulge some information. Let's see who is actually leaking information to the press or publishing off-record comments. So, but anyway, I'll get to that in a moment. So President Trump basically exposed journalists who publish off-the-record content or information. But this is really interesting. What is the difference here between, Assange should be free tomorrow. They are doing exactly what he's, okay, also, if you ever want to send documents, okay, so if you'd ever like to get in touch with me, I'd be glad to talk on background, meaning I'd never use your name in any story. Well, that's not true because, let's just say it's likely not true because Madeleine Westerhout, her discussion apparently led to a whole bunch of journalists being exposed as having possibly published information that was off the record. So if you this is a Politico article, Trump's personal assistant fired after comments about Ivanka Tiffany. Well, these were off the record comments. Why were they even? I thought these journalists were supposed to be trusted. They're such wonderful journalists to keep off the record comments, This was an off the record dinner, and the media blatantly violated that agreement, an administration official said. After the August 17th dinner, which took place at the restaurant inside the nearby Embassy Suites Hotel and included the Washington Post's Phil Rucker, Bloomberg's Jennifer Jacobs, Reuters' Steve Holland, and the Wall Street Journal's Andrew Rastuccia, Westerhout rode back to a different hotel, the Marriott, with Rucker and Holland. So, White House staffers having off-the-record dinners or drinks with reporters has long been a commonplace practice when a president is traveling. Yeah, but in this case, they exist only to harm Trump. This is not a truth-finding mission. So you get people who are like, oh, what's the problem? This is called journalism. Well, not really. Not really. In this case, you actually have a vendetta out. You actually have a specific angle that they're always going to search for. You have a specific angle that they're always going to try to publish. It's never how many positive stories has Phil Rucker or David Fahrenthold written about Trump? How many negative stories have they written about Trump? And before Trump, David Fahrenthold actually also wrote negative stories about Bernie Sanders. How many positive stories have the Washington Post published about Democrats? How often do they defend Democrats? And you can't say, well, it just so happens that Democrats and Hillary and everyone liberal is just always on the side of right. Every once in a while, they might publish an opinion that's pro-Trump. Every once in a while, just to show semblance of some kind of objectivity, but. And they published a piece from Assange several years back. But, I mean, how is this different from what Assange was doing? Also, if you ever want to send me documents anonymously, you can do it online at this encrypted site. So what? How do we know that a foreign power is in WashingtonPost.com secure drop? Okay, or just do it the old-fashioned way. Send the no-return address package to the street address below. Oh, my God. So this is the point, ladies and gentlemen. They want anonymous information, and they don't care. Gee, who was vilified for that? They don't see if it's they use the term. They're trying to use the term whistleblowing when it comes to anything that benefits them. Anything that doesn't benefit them, it's a foreign plot to undermine their existence. So it's just unbelievable. It's really unbelievable, the duplicity. But Eric Trump, this is a tactic that they use all the time. This is a tactic they use all the time. And it's like they just what they do is there is no journalism anymore. It's all public relations. So here, sign up for Eric Trump's online class in journalism ethics. So this is the Washington Post trying to respond back. So wait, is the word anonymous here? No, anonymous. No, there's no mention Tone, Farenthold is polite and respectful. Thoroughness, Donald Trump is forever protesting the reporters who cover him. The White House don't really have any sources. What? That doesn't even mean it. Look, somebody could simply be a Democratic operative and send information to David Farenthold or anyone else and say, I work at Trump's administration, here's the information, and they'll almost certainly use it. So they're saying, well, we're trying to find sources. Isn't that what Trump wants? Like, no, that's not the issue. The issue is that you'll accept anything as long as it's negative. Almost anything. In short, the letter Farenthold discloses the basis on which he'd like to speak to Mull. Background generally means that a source gives. This is like the last people who should give journalism courses or try to talk about ethics in journalism is the Washington Post. They're the ones who publish stories on the Access Hollywood tape and then publish stories on how the Russians tried to destroy the nation with the DNC and campaign emails, Clinton's campaign emails that talk about, 500 conflicts of interest at the Clinton Foundation. Why doesn't, I wonder why David Farenthold, if David Farenthold was given information about 500 conflicts of interest at the Trump Foundation, it doesn't matter how he obtained, if it was accurate and if it was the actual words of somebody who worked at the Trump organization or foundation or whatever, oh my God, there would be like 20 stories about it. But if it's literally in the campaign emails, okay, published with the same kind of website that Farenthold uses right here, you can online secure encrypted site, the Washington Post secure drop. That's hilarious. It's just unbelievable, the duplicity. I mean, my God, this is why I would vote for Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. or Ivanka Trump or any Trump. Barron Trump, God bless him. Like if he's like 18 or 9, or no, he has to be 40. But I'll vote for any Trump over any Democrat in 2024. And this is why, the issue here is they did exactly the same thing as Assange, but what they didn't do, except it's against what their angle is against Trump. And it's all right to get anonymous information if it's not all right if it's against Clinton or the Democratic Party, because then it's a Russian plot, even though Putin met with at his home Bill Clinton in 2010 as uranium yellow cake was being shipped out of the country, according to the New York Times. According to the New York Times, shortly after, when the sale was going down, there was a racketeering scandal. When Mueller was there at FBI as FBI director, and 20% of the U.S. uranium capacity was just suddenly approved by the Committee on Foreign Investment. Gee, what a coinky-dink, as money was flowing into the Clinton Foundation. It's just a coincidence, Washington Post. There's no correlation at all. There's absolutely no correlation, Phil Rucker and David Farenthold, between cash flowing to the Clinton Foundation amid the Russian uranium deal and the Committee on Foreign Investment not protesting the deal because, Obama never demanded loyalty. So they could have resigned, but they didn't because they were so tough on Russia. And there's no correlation between what William D. Campbell stated, that Russian lobbyists were bragging about their influence over the Clinton Foundation and President Obama's administration. So money is flowing from Uranium One to the Clinton Foundation. They get their deal. They get eventually 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. Yellow cake is shipped out of the country, according to the New York Times. Not a problem. Not a problem. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is forced to resign because of documents that were anonymously given to a publication. Wiki, what is it called? An actual publication, just like the Washington Post, on a secure site, encrypted site, you can give anonymously. Wow, that's cutting edge, Washington Post. That's cutting edge. This is the cutting edge of journalism. Wait, if the Washington Post can get documents anonymously from a secure site, does this mean the Russians could give information and they wouldn't know it's from Russia? Oh my God. How easy would it be for election interference from this fantastic, secure, encrypted Washington Post site? That's the point. The buffoons in media, they don't get it. These buffoons don't get it. Like, it's just journalism, okay? This is what the New York Post, Eric Trump outs Washington reporter seeking whistleblower inside Trump organization. Yeah. There you go. There you go. They seeked an anonymous source, anonymous documents, via an encrypted site. Where have we seen this? Where have we seen this before? My God. And they don't get it. They don't. All the defense, this is called journalism, okay? And who was the guy? There was a guy at the Washington Post who reached out to me, and I'm like, this is when my articles were going viral, and I knew he was going to write a hit piece. So I'm like, nah. You know. There was a guy who, in the Washington Post in 2015 reached out to me, and it's like, and then shortly after, the Daily Beast writes a hit piece. It's like, never, look, in my humble opinion, you never speak to journalists, ever, because they're only going to twist and frame and manipulate anything you say to their angle, to their spin. Okay, this is not journalism today, and maybe it was never purely this in this manner, but journalism today is not a truth-finding endeavor. It is purely public relations against Trump. Purely, and even Fox is like, oh, we don't work for you, Mr. President. We don't work for you. It's like, oh my God. The guy has nobody. The only thing he has is Twitter. Trump the best friend of Trump is really not Fox. It's Twitter, actually. Because, so, thoroughness, working with other reporters on the Post, he has exposed how Trump properties have relied on crew. Okay, so, yeah, that's horrible. Wow, that's amazing. So what did you gain from this? Did you how many stories did they do on the weapons deal scandal that David Sirota broke in the International Business Times, where money flowed into the Clinton Foundation and they were miraculously given weapons deals? So the Associated Press did a story on 85 donors giving $156 million to the Clinton Foundation, and then Vox immediately is like, it's okay, she met with more than 85. It's like, no, you're missing the point. Oh my God, you're missing the point. 85 people gave $156 million total, and guess what? They met Clinton. Do you think the $156 million had something to do with it? Oh no. UBS was in trouble with the IRS. They gave Bill a speaking arrangement, and then money flowed into the Clinton Foundation. And it was like, suddenly, the Secretary of State goes to bat for them. That was The Atlantic wrote about that, and the Wall Street Journal wrote about that. Get with it, Washington Post. Do some actual investigative journalism on the Clinton Foundation, maybe, or maybe the new Onward Together Foundation that's going to take place. Clinton's running. I hope you know this, Washington Post. I hope you're not pretending. Surely somebody there should know that Clinton is going to run in 2020. I don't care. Again, every single day, I have like maybe out of hundreds of comments on the segments when I do about Clinton, I have maybe one or two, maybe one or two mean-spirited ones. And to the mean-spirited comments, just wait, okay? Yeah, Clinton's not going to run because you don't think it's going to happen. No, she's going to run. She doesn't care what anyone else thinks. She has nobody. Okay, there's nobody there who could even come close to defeating Trump. Why wouldn't Clinton run? Why? Okay. And you would have to even get close to defeating Trump, you have to go and you have to raise it over $2 billion. She raised $1.2 billion. Trump raised $600 million, and Trump beat her in the Electoral College. She spent $143 million in Florida. He spent $6.8 million, and she still won Florida. It's now a mathematical equation. But anyway, transparency? It is your parallel that discloses on a basis you'd like to speak to my old background. Given Trump's apparent endorsement of these tactics, however, perhaps Trump was able to be rewarding its employees for delivering information to the media. Delivering information? Wait a second. Wrong. The Washington Post never touches, and nor do all their defenders. The issue here is the actual appeal to an encrypted site. My God. And anonymously, send documents anonymously through an encrypted site. You buffoons! You fools! This is exactly what Assange was doing, and you vilified him. You said the Russians were behind it. You have zero evidence, zero proof, nothing. Even the ODNI report comes with warranty disclaimers. Such judgments might be wrong. Okay? High confidence judgments are based on facts that are fragmentary, or based on information fragmentary, and they are not certain about anything. Who was indicted for the Russian intelligence officers for giving the DNC emails? Really? Based on Company 1, Washington Post. Who was Company 1? CrowdStrike. Where have your stories about CrowdStrike been? Where's the investigative reporting from inside CrowdStrike? Huh? Where's your wonderful investigative reporting from Fusion GPS? You don't touch them with a 1,000,000-foot pole. Because you know the entire rotten edifice of the whole. You wouldn't want to find out why. What is it that CrowdStrike gave the United States government? Did they give pristine images? They didn't even give all their information on what they allegedly looked at. The United States government outsourced what they view to be the biggest crime of the century to a third-party tech firm, and they said, "Oh, just give us the copies of the fingerprints on the safe, and it'll be okay. We trust you. We trust you. You're a Democrat. We trust." The Washington Post. You think Farenthold and Rucker are going to call you? No, don't worry about it. The DHS report comes with a warranty disclaimer that says we provide no guarantees. The actual intelligence assessments have zero claims of certainty regarding anything pertaining to the DNC emails. So to say that it was the Russians who gave, to what? The Russians wanted the DNC emails published because they wanted to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, thus giving Clinton the popular vote, while at the same time forcing Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. Don't be Meshuggah. Don't be crazy. This is why there's no journalism anymore. This is a farce. Journalism today is a public relations spin, just like the DNC, debates, which is a hilarious whatever. It's a theatrical performance. Clinton is running. It does this because she hasn't run. She doesn't need to debate anyone. She doesn't need to be in the spotlight because she's already in the spotlight every single day. She's going to run again because, in her perspective, she lost by 70,000 votes because of actual journalism that actually exposed corruption that was literally written by the hands of grubby little people at the DNC, which is exactly what David Farenthold wanted. Through anonymous documents, David Farenthold of the Washington Post maybe should team up with, should defend a man who's suffering now for doing the same thing. Also, if you ever want to send me documents anonymously, you can do it online at this encrypted site. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Or just do it the old-fashioned way. I love this. That is part of, he sent that to a whole bunch. That paragraph. Just do it the old-fashioned way! ! Send a no-return address package to the street address below. How would you verify? How on earth would you verify any information? How do you know the Russians aren't sending? Oh, that's right, because the Russians only oppose people who sign up, who allow 20% of U.S. uranium capacity to be given to them. That's why. This is why nobody trusts media. Over 70% of Americans don't trust media. There is no ethics here. Eric Trump completely and utterly exposed the Washington Post. And guess what? It's not the fact that they want anonymous documents. It's the fact that they're doing the exact same thing as people they try to disparage. And then they try to say, oh, my God, I'm not even going to get into it. It's just too, gee, where have we seen a site before that asks for, that can publish anonymous documents? Where is that site? What's that site called? That's funny. Then you get, how do you know the Russians wouldn't send the Washington Post all this information? Oh my God, that's so hilarious. Give me your thoughts below. That's so funny. Give me your thoughts below. Eric Trump, and this is amazing. This is actually amazing what he did. They're trying to it's called journalism. Well then, free Assange tomorrow. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very, very much.